I am Kai Smith. I am a certified trichologist. I am the author of Discover the Secrets to Healthy Hair. I am very, very passionate about helping women get to the root cause of their hair loss, as well as helping my peers identify hair loss behind the chair and making more impact and influence as they increase their brand awareness. If you're joining me for the first time, thank you for coming into my space. We welcome you in. And then also, I'd like to ask you guys just to go ahead and share this out on your social platforms, because sharing is caring, and somebody needs to know this information. If it doesn't pertain to you, it may pertain to someone else that you know in your social community. So my first question, because I researched some things online, and this is what Google is saying. And so I'm going to talk about what Google is saying, and then I'm going to talk about what science is saying and what Kai's spin on all of this is. Thank you for sharing, Cosette. And so my question to Google was, what is a protective style? Because everybody is hollering protective, protective, protective. I'm going to put my hair in a protective style. I want to wear a protective style. Hi, Joy. And so I just want to know what a protective style is. How can you protect your hair, and what are you protecting your hair from? Okay, so Google says a protective style is a term every natural, and I'm reading from paper because I had to write this down, a term every natural hair woman, or pretty much every woman, hears on a daily basis. A true protective hairstyle is at its base simply a style that protects the ends of your hair, helping to decrease tangling and shedding and breakage. So basically it's saying that it's a style that helps to decrease tangling, shedding, and breakage. Now let's talk about shedding, because shedding and breakage are two totally different things. Shedding is something that is naturally going to happen, which is the telogen phase of your hair cycle. That is something that is supposed to naturally happen, because once the hair has peaked its growth cycle, then it releases itself so that it can make room for new hairs to grow in. So shedding there should be anywhere between 80 to 100 strands of hair shed per day on any one person's head. So shedding is a natural thing that's going to happen. So when you put it in a quote-unquote protective style, you're not stopping the hair from shedding. So that's myth number one that we're going to debunk. You're not stopping the hair from shedding when you're wearing a protective style, because that same hair that was going to release, whether it was free or whether it's being hidden or protected, quote-unquote, it's still going to release itself inside of those braids or whatever the style is, twist, or whatever it is that you've done in your hair to protect it or to put it away. Your hair is still going to shed between 80 to 100 strands of hair per day. It doesn't matter what you're doing to your hair, it's still going to shed. So we've gotten that one out the way. And so it's supposed to decrease tangling of the hair. And so my question is, typically when the hair tangles a lot, it's because the ends are split. Hair shouldn't just tangle on its own naturally. Hair typically tangles if the ends are split. They tangle around one another, and that's what starts causing the breakage, because those ends are tangling around one another. If it's tangling, then that's an indication that it's time for a trim. Okay? And then the breakage, decreasing breakage. What are you doing to your hair in the first place that you're causing breakage? Why is your hair breaking? Because as soon as you take it out of that quote-unquote protective style, it's going to continue breaking. So what you need to learn how to do is how to protect your hair from the breaking, how to protect your hair from the tangling. These protective styles will not protect it from tangling or breaking. It's what you're doing to your hair otherwise that's causing the tangling or the breaking. And meaning, if it's breaking, that means that you're doing something excessive to it in the beginning for it to break. And that means that you're probably not getting your ends trimmed on a regular basis if it's breaking. And it could mean that you probably need some type of protein and moisture balancing within your hair. So a protective style is not going to stop those things from happening. All it's going to do is keep you from seeing it longer. It's not protecting you from it. It's keeping you from seeing it longer. Now, if you guys are following me, put a 1. If you're disagreeing with me, put a 2. I just want to see who's following me and who's disagreeing with me. And it's okay to agree to disagree, okay? The next one. How long should you keep braids in if you have natural hair? And so the answer that Google gave back is putting your hair in braids can give it 2 to 3 months of rest from chemical or heat damage, reducing breakage. Once again, the answer was putting your hair in braids can give it 2 to 3 months of rest from chemical or heat damage, reducing breakage. Well, let's just get to the root of that. If you have to put your hair in a protective style because there was some type of chemical or heat damage that was causing breakage, you would need a protective style if you knew how to take care of your hair. So that will probably mean you can protect your hair better if you sought out a professional stylist that can keep your ends trimmed, that can keep your hair fortified, that can keep your hair hydrated, and that can teach you how to properly care for your hair so that you don't have to put it up in these styles to trick yourself into thinking that you're caring better for your hair, because you are not. You are only prolonging the inevitable, because when you take the hair down, it's still going to be in its unhealthy state. Okay? So that's another debunked myth. Okay? And then let me just go to this because I overlooked this. Putting your hair in braids can give it 2 to 3 months of rest. 2 to 3 months of rest. So in 2 to 3 months, are you shampooing your hair? What's happening when you sweat? Lord forbid that you put your hair in a protective style because you're going to the gym and you're secreting all of that sweat that has all of this sodium in it that is drying out the hair even more, drying out the scalp even more, and then you're secreting natural oils on a daily basis. And if you have a poor diet, that you eat a lot of processed foods and you eat a lot of fried foods, those triglycerides are coming out on your scalp and your skin. And so all of this is sitting on top of your scalp for 2 to 3 months, and you're talking about protecting it from heat damage, protecting it from breaking. Well, in order to grow healthy hair, it starts with healthy scalp hygiene. And having these braids in 2 to 3 months is not healthy scalp hygiene. So now what you're doing is you're hindering the hair from growing out of the follicle, because the natural process for hair is to grow. If you allow all of this sebum and sweat, and then, come on, y'all, we like to go and grease our scalps when we have braids in our hair. Then you want to put the artificial oil on top of that. So you're smothering your hair follicles, and then you wonder if it's going to grow, and you're protecting it. Protecting it from what? Protecting it from what, I ask. So the next one is, why do a protective style? Why would a person do a protective style? Google said the idea is to reduce the daily damage. Maintenance with heating and styling products to natural hair. Your style should be moisturized and maintained during wear. All right, y'all. So it says it's to reduce the daily damage from maintenance with heat and styling products. Well, I don't know about any other hairstylists, but for my clients, they don't use heat on a daily basis. We don't iron dirty clothes, and we do not flat iron or curl dirty hair because it has naturally secreted oils and it has sweat buildup on it. Sweat is salt, it's sodium. It's drying out the hair. And then you're putting product on it that may have alcohol or something in it. Then you're reactivating all of that with the heat. That's going to dry the hair out, right? So my clients know better. So Google is saying that the idea is to reduce daily damage maintenance with heat. My clients aren't using heat. If you know how to properly care for your hair, and you know how to wrap your hair at night, and you know how to put a satin scarf on it, or you know how to roll your hair, you know how to pin curl your hair, or whatever it is that you're doing to keep heat off of your hair on a daily basis, you will not have to put heat on your hair every single day. The hair fibers cannot handle that. And so then it says the styling products, right? You shouldn't have to use styling products on your hair every single day. You want to know why? Because when Kai's clients leave her chair, All of the hydration and all of the strengthening has taken place at the shampoo bowl. So I don't have to use a whole lot of product on my client's hair to get it to shine, to get it to lay, and to get it to stay in place. Because my clients have body. They want their hair swinging and moving. So they don't have to use all these additional products on their hair in order to get it to do what it's supposed to do. Because all of that is taken care of at the shampoo bowl. My shine is at the shampoo bowl. My cuticle is sealed at the shampoo bowl. So I don't have to put all of these oils and serums and hairsprays on it to get it to shine and to get it to seal the cuticle, because I know how to do that at the shampoo bowl, right? So once again, if you have a good hairstylist, and I think that's the number one problem. The number one problem is that most of these people that are doing these protective styles do not have a regular hairstylist that they see on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, or even on a monthly basis. You won't have to do all of this extra stuff, all of this over manipulation, if you have a regular stylist. And even if you don't frequent the salon once a month and you're natural, you could at least hop in there at least every 8 to 12 weeks to get you a deep conditioner to make sure your ends are intact, and then you won't have to keep going for these protective hairstyles because they're not really protecting anything. And then Google also says about why do a protective style. It says so that it can be moisturized and maintained during wear. How you moisturizing your hair during a protective style? Because your hair is underneath that style. So how are you moisturizing your hair? You can't moisturize your hair doing a protective style unless you're just taking some oils and trying to get it underneath the braids or whatever the style is that you have. So you cannot keep the hair moisturized. And then at the same time, after wearing it for so long, we've already discussed that the body, the follicles naturally secrete oil and sweat that is building up around the follicle. And then you're taking oil to stick it inside of these braids to try to keep it lubricated. That's nasty. And then you take it down and want to come and let somebody shampoo it for you after it's been up for 2 and 3 months, and you have all this buildup around your follicle and around those braids. It's just plain nasty, right? And I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings right now, but I don't care because it's the truth. And I'm sick and tired of all of these people talking about a protective style is making hair grow. Protective styles are causing breakage, fungus, and everything else. And it is just making you feel like in your mind that your hair is growing. But hair is going to naturally grow. And it's not about how much your hair grows. It's about the quality of the hair after it grows, right? So now let's move on. What is a protective style for natural hair? What is a protective style for natural hair? So here it is. Faux locks, Ghana braids, box braids, crochet braids, twists, custom wigs. Now, let me just say this, that I am not against wearing braids. I am not against wearing twists. But what I am against is how long you keep it in for. Because I'm all for vacation hair. You know, you going on vacation, you going to the Caribbean, or you going somewhere and you just don't want to have to deal with your hair, and you gone for a week or two, you know, maybe even 3. And you want to do something to your hair, but that's not a protective style. You're just doing something so that you don't have to comb your hair, because that's kind of, it doesn't even make sense. You're protecting your hair. It's a protective style. The way you protect your hair is by shampooing your scalp to remove excess oil, excess sweat, excess product, and replenishing it with the amino acids that it needs and with the moisture that it needs. That's how you protect your hair. So the only one that I do on a regular basis on this list will be a custom wig. And why? Why, Kai, do you do a custom wig? I don't do weaves anymore because I feel like weaves are the devil. Yeah, I know it's probably some of y'all on here that do weaves still, and that's cool. That's y'all thing. That's what y'all do. I'm not here to argue and debate whether or not you do weaves still. I'm just telling y'all what Kai don't do. Kai does not do weaves anymore because Kai is a certified trichologist who understands the science of hair, who understands the importance of scalp hygiene, and who understands how fragile those hair fibers can be no matter how strong they are. And so Kai does not do weaves simply because I cannot be responsible for a client, even though I know how to braid without pulling on the edges, without pulling on the crown, without pulling on the nape. I know how to braid that way without any traction. And I know how to stitch without any of that. However, when the client goes home and she starts playing in her hair and she's not shampooing her hair, or she keeps it up for too long, I cannot be responsible for that, because y'all hear me all day long on social media, on my posts, on my website, talking about I help women with hair loss. And if I'm helping women with hair loss, how am I going to contribute to the possibility of them pulling out their hair? Because I don't want to be responsible for what they do when they go home after I've given them this weave. They keep it up for too long. Now they don't have good scalp hygiene. Or they're taking a comb with a metal tip and they're scratching in their hair. What if they get an abrasion inside of that? They got all of this sweat and fungus growing. And then something adverse happens because I put the weave in, and there's a fungus that grows in there that causes this person to lose their hair when they take their hair down. I don't want to be a contributing factor to any of that, although I do know how to do a weave without making the hair fall out, without pulling the edges too tight, without causing the bumps. However, it's in the client's hand once they leave my chair. Now, that's Kai. And Kai doesn't want to have responsibility for that. So Kai doesn't do this. So what I do is I create custom units. Custom units can be taken on and off. I have several clients who have their units stitched down, and they come in bi-weekly and get those units taken off, and they get that hair shampooed. And I have some that don't get it stitched down, but they still come in, they get those braids taken out, and they get that hair shampooed. And we do a scalp detoxification so that we can make sure we're exfoliating and we're keeping those follicles clear to absorb nutrients and for the hair to grow. We can take that thing off every week if we needed to. But when you get a weave put in, you done sat there, you done invested all that time getting that thing sewn in and all of that stuff. You don't want to take that thing down every week or every 2 weeks to get it maintenanced. So I won't be a contributing factor to that madness with people keeping these weaves up too long. So there is a way to still look good with your unit on, and it looks just like you have a weave in your hair. However, it is not putting as much tension on it. It allows the scalp to breathe, and especially my clients who are experiencing hair loss, because of the materials that I use for my wigs, they're still able to get their treatment on their scalp, and they're coming in and getting that hair and scalp shampoo. And I will just say, weaves are not a protective style. They are not a protective style. They are not. They are not. I will repeat it. And I know some of y'all probably, giving the thumbs down to Kai right now, but I'm good because I don't feel that weaves are a protective style. You cannot protect the hair when you are suffocating the scalp. You just can't do it. There's no way around it. All right, so back to what Google said. The next question: are crochet braids damaging to your hair? Right? And let me just say that in the salon, I've had clients come in with who've had crochet braids, and it looked like rats have been nibbling on their hair. And I said, looks like rats have been nibbling at it because every all over the place, it has little breakage at the scalp where that latch hook then got caught on that hair and snagged the hairs. Snag your real hair fibers while it's latch hooking the synthetic or the human hair onto that braid. So I know what I see behind the chair. So I speak facts when I talk. I don't speak from emotion. I speak from pure facts, from what I'm seeing behind the chair based on what the client comes in and tells me. I don't want to hear, oh, the hairstylist that did it just didn't know how to do crochet braids, or they just didn't know how to do a weave. There is a high possibility that you're going to hook that hair with that latch hook. There's a high possibility that there's going to be traction alopecia with that weave. So if you know it's going to be a high possibility, why do it to the client? Why do it to the client? You just shouldn't. You shouldn't even want to compromise your license like that. And so now the answer that Google gave about crochet braids being damaging, Google said, yes, crochet braids, like any other protective style, and in parentheses, weave or individual braids, requires braiding of your natural hair, whether it's permed or not. Putting braids on top of fresh perm or hair in a weakened state can cause serious damage to your hair. Let me just say, y'all quit calling a relaxer a perm. A relaxer is not a perm, and a perm is not a relaxer. They are two totally different chemicals. So the next time you go into your hairstylist and you ask for a perm, they're going to give you a thio, which is going to be a curly perm, because that is what a perm is. A relaxer relaxes your curly, kinky hair. So quit calling relaxer perm, because it is not. You're using the term wrong. It's called a relaxer. And so let me just say this. First of all, yes, you should not be braiding freshly relaxed hair. And you should not be braiding weakened hair. Those weakened hair fibers, because they're going to easily pop. But trip this. It says that crochet, just like any other protective hairstyle, requires braiding your natural hair, whether it's perm or not, and that it can be basically damaging. So how is it that in one sentence you look up this information and it's under protective style, and then in the paragraph it tells you that it's damaging? So if it's damaging, it ain't a protective style, y'all. If it's damaging, it is not a protective style. You can't have protective style as the title, and then within the body of the paragraph it tells you that it's damaging to the hair. That's not a protective style. So the only way to protect the hair is to keep the ends trim, keep the hair moisture balanced, protein balanced. Don't put excessive heat on it. Get you a cool little haircut, cool little style. Or if you just want to be a naturalista, be free. And if you want to wear these braids, don't try to put a label on it that it's a protective style, because it's not. If you want to wear braids, or if you want to wear a weave, or if you want to wear twist outs, bantu knots, or whatever, wear them. Do not make those a lifestyle. Those hairstyles are not meant to be a lifestyle. Those hairstyles are just meant for a quick minute. Like I said, vacation hair. I ain't gonna have my hairstylist with me. I'm gonna want to get in some water. And then if you're getting in chlorine and you're getting in salt water and you can't rinse your hair, you already damaging the hair, because salt is damaging to the hair and chlorine is damaging to the hair. Bottom line is, none of this stuff is a protective style. So the last question I asked Google: do cornrows or braids make your hair grow faster? Right? And it says, remember that cornrows braids are a protective hairstyle. So that means they protect the ends of your hair from being split or damaged. Human hair grows on average 6 inches per year, or a half an inch per month. Google, it says cornrows braids are protective hairstyle. So that means they protect the ends of your hair from being split or damaged. How in the HE double hockey sticks does it protect your ends from being split or damaged? Who was feeding Google these answers? But my thing is, if your hair was cared for in the first place and you knew how to do proper maintenance to your hair, you kept your ends trimmed, you shampooed your hair regularly, you kept it moisture balanced, you kept it protein balanced, you didn't put a lot of excessive heat, you don't use a lot of excessive tension, whether it's wet or dry, because when your hair is wet, even with you naturalistas who like to do all your twist outs, braid outs, whatever you're doing to your hair, when it's wet, there's some bonds that have been broken in the hair when it's wet, and it's weakest when it's wet. So if you're doing all of this pulling on it when it's wet, you are still at jeopardy of losing strands, because you're putting a lot of tension on it. If you are not combing your hair out properly when it's wet and you are naturalista and you want to start from the scalp and comb all the way down to the ends, you are pulling hair out. So you cannot protect your hair if you don't even know how to maintenance your hair, and you surely can't protect your hair with it being tucked away, because you can't do the necessary things to keep your hair fibers moist, strong, or clipping the ends, which is helping with retention. Split ends break the hair, which makes a woman think that her hair is not growing. The hair grows from the scalp. It breaks from the ends, which makes you feel like your hair growth is stunted. It's not that you're not growing hair. It's that you're not retaining hair. And a protective style is not going to help you retain hair. If you put it up and the ends were already breaking off, you didn't give yourself, or someone didn't give you a proper treatment before you put it up, and they didn't clip those ends, when you take that hair down, the inevitable is going to happen. You're going to lose that hair, baby. Every time you're going to lose that hair. And so a protective style is not helping you to keep your ends from splitting or to keep them from breaking. So I want y'all to stop this madness with this protective junk. I want y'all to stop this madness with this protective junk. Y'all learn how to take care of y'all hair and stop being so dang lazy. That's the problem. Y'all just lazy. Y'all want to grow hair, but y'all don't want to take care of your hair. And yeah, I'm passionate because I'm tired of standing behind my chair with this foolery coming in where y'all done did what y'all want to do to y'all hair. Now it's coming out, it's broken off, it looks like it's flammable and the rat's been eating on it, and then y'all want us to fix it. And then hairstylists out there that's talking this mess about this protective style, learn how to take care of some hair. I'm just saying, Kai gonna say what everybody else scared to say. I don't care what y'all think. But I'm going to tell y'all the truth. And these protective styles have the hair loss era in an epidemic of women losing their hair that don't have to lose their hair. And I see it every single day. It starts off as traction alopecia, and then it's secondary scarring. And then you can't get your hair back. And then you got to go and get a transplant in order to get it back. Stop it. Stop trying to be like these celebrities on TV. And here you go, Joy. Stop trying to wear these lace fronts and you got edges and think you're going to be able to put some glue on it. And when you take the glue off, you think you're going to still have some hair. You're not. You're not going to have no hair when you take that off. That's just like putting wax under your armpits or in your womanly area or on your legs and then pulling it off. It's going to remove your hair every time. And it may not remove as much as it does when you put the wax on there. But eventually, excessive chronic use, you ain't going to have no edges and you're going to have to wear that wig. So stop it. Stop trying to be like these celebrities on TV. They don't wear that mess every day. They wear that stuff for TV. Get you a regular little old wig, custom made unit, be cute, sew it down, or whatever, because there's plenty women out here that gotta do that stuff on a daily basis because they have hair loss due to underlying medical issues. And so my thing is, too many women are out here that wish they had hair, that have scarring hair loss because they didn't understand what was happening medically to their bodies. So y'all hairstylists, stop pulling out your client's hair. Go and get you some education so that you can understand that weaves ain't growing no hair. Hair scientifically is going to grow unless your hair cycle is interrupted due to nutritional, underlying medical issues, hormonal. The thing is, stop it. It ain't growing your hair. Your hair is going to grow. Weaves are the devil and them frontals are the devil. I'm so sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of it. You know, if you're someone who is having hair loss because you just couldn't control it and you didn't get any help soon enough and now, you know, you need it in order to have your confidence, that's one thing. Get you a lace front. Go get you some restoration, whatever it is that you need with some hair replacement, whatever it is that you need to feel whole again. I'm not talking to those women. I'm not talking to those women. I'm talking about these women that are so insecure about how they look that they cannot come outside and they can't bear to see themselves in the mirror naked, without hair, without lashes, without makeup, without inflated behinds, without inflated chests. I'm talking to those women. That's who I'm talking to. And it's time out for all of that. Learn how to care for your own hair. Because there are plenty of women out here who wish they had your hair. It's all right to put, you know, that unit on. It's all right to get a few braids here and there. You know, that's all good. But that should not be a lifestyle.